So lately I have been more at peace and happier, and I just wanted to talk about embracing your authentic self today. I didn't realize I had been performing for a majority of my life. Performing, trying to be this person that I thought people would like, whether it was at work or school. And I really did lose my authentic self. And I think sometimes we don't even have time to develop our authentic self because we're raised around people constantly telling us who we should be, what we should wear, what we should be doing, even the societal norms, right? Who you should be dating, what kind of job you should aspire to get, how you should raise your kids. And if you don't like your authentic self, then you can work on, rebuilding your authentic self. You can work on learning to love yourself, those pieces that you actually can't change, certain physical attributes, right? Like, yeah, you don't have to be obese, but at the same time, no matter how much you work out, sometimes your boobs, they don't always sit up the same, It's certain things that we just have to kind of like accept. I mean, unless you want to go under surgery, I just learned to love my little saggy boobs. It's certain things that I feel like in my personality that I was being fake. And I'm just tired of being fake because that shit is exhausting. And sometimes you can be fake without actually having harmful intent. And that's the ironic thing, is that a person can kind of feel when you're not being your true self. And it gives people the ick. Even if you have these wonderful intentions, sometimes when you're being a people pleaser, it just comes off as desperate, needy, malicious. Like, what's your intent? Why are you being so nice to me and you barely know me? Why are you overextending yourself when you have shit you need to be doing? And then also, I feel like it kind of attracts manipulators or people that are desperate, that are just grasping for straws in life, whether it's emotional support, financial support. Yesterday I did a video. I hadn't did a video in a while, like a pep talk, anything, if you've been on my channel. And my friend, she told me, she was like, all right, I'm gonna be honest with you. And I'm always open to feedback, but she was like, you sounded sad. You sounded like you just rolled out of bed. But the thing about it is, lately I have been feeling like I don't need to perform. Like, I'm okay with being me. Like, I don't need to try to be extra funny. I don't need to try to be extra sexy. I don't need to try to be whatever I think might be fitting for that person or occasion. Of course, a lot of it comes from, like, you have abandonment issues like myself, or if you ever been teased, or if you ever had a moment in your life where you felt so happy and confident being your true self, and then there's people telling you that shit is weird, you're fucking weird, you need to stop, or even neurotypical people. A lot of them, they mask to fit in with society. And with me having an autistic son, I do wonder sometimes, like, I used to do that. So yeah, there's that. But anyways, I'm not saying to be a disrespectful person. I'm not saying to be a shitty person. I'm saying to just embrace your authentic self so that you can be happy. Because when you don't embrace yourself, your authentic self, then you attract people that aren't really in alignment with who you really are, who you really want to be. Your greatest good. You're attracting people that like this fake version of you. You're at a job that really isn't fitting, or just the things that you're into aren't really going to make you happy if you really don't know who you are and you really don't like who you are and you're not really walking in your truth. So back to my friend. So my friend has said, in the last video I sounded sad, but honestly I was just at a state of calmness, at peacefulness. And in the past, when I recorded videos, sometimes I record it more than once, but yesterday I just recorded it in one and done, because it was just me speaking from the heart. It wasn't something that I thought about how I would say it. It wasn't me performing, trying to gauge, okay, what people like, this, what people like. It's just like, I like this, and that's enough, and that should be enough, right? Because it's my channel. If you don't like it, then cool. I mean, it's people that I watch, and I like every single thing that they do. And I think that kind of reflects in relationships and friendships as well. Because we don't have to always agree on everything. It would be hard to please every single person. And I think that's a big part of embracing your authentic self, because people will always want different things from you. So if you're constantly trying to please, people at work, your family, people from different ages and walks of life, they're all going to demand different versions of you. So it's kind of like you have to stand on your square and say, look, this is who I am and this is what I'm standing for. Because what do they say? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, right? And I'm just tired of doing that shit, because that shit is tiring. The overthinking, everything that kind of comes with that. Even if you're just trying to be nice because you're trying to make a new friend, but you're not being your true self. Like if you say you like a certain type of cuisine and then we get to the restaurant and I could just tell that you're disgusted, it's like, why would you lie to me about those little things? guess we have to just love ourselves enough not to be desperate to conform to what we think someone else would approve of, but instead, what would you approve of? You know, what do you like? What type of person do you want to show up as in the world? Being a good person will never be out of style, and good people will appreciate your goodness. Make sure you're surrounding yourself with good people that allow you to be your authentic self, because anyone who wants you to just conform to something that's beneficial for them is actually someone you should get the hell away from, right? Because some people, they really only think about themselves, and it's sad to say, sometimes it's family, sometimes it's a person that's supposed to care for you and be there for you, and they actually don't. They're just like, okay, how can I benefit? What can this person do for me? So if you're constantly conforming, you're putting yourself at risk of being manipulated. You're putting yourself at risk of being overwhelmed, because sometimes some people will let you overextend yourself. Even when they see you're tired, they will still let you drive them somewhere because they need a ride. Even when they see that you're struggling and your money is tight, they will still let you buy them things, knowing that you really don't got it like that, but you're a kind person. So yeah, like, embracing your authentic self isn't about, you know, just being mean. I think it's about finding a good middle where it's like, okay, I can be myself, but I can still be a good person as long as I'm not hurting anyone. No one is perfect, right? Even the people that you think have a perfect life, when you get to know them, when you find out things later, it's like some of them are going through the biggest struggles, but they have the most perfect poker face. There are people out here that you just like, oh, I want their life. And then it's like a year later, you see them getting divorced, you see them filing for bankruptcy. No one has it perfect. So don't be so hard on yourself about being perfect, because sometimes that can kind of block blessings from you or opportunities. A few months ago, I was dating this guy, and he used to always compliment me on how white my teeth are, you know? And I drink a lot of coffee, so I actually whiten my teeth sometime with toothpaste or strips, and I didn't find anything wrong with his teeth. I thought that his little gap was cute, you know, but I could tell it really bothered him. And sometimes when you aren't your authentic self, and somebody is trying to just embrace you for who you are, it's hard for you to accept, like, wow, this person likes and adores me for me, but I don't. And I think that's like that self-work. That's when there's time to like really work on yourself before you even deal with anyone, because then you're like projecting like, oh, she or he really doesn't want to be with me because look at me, who would want me? You know, like if you feel that way about yourself, take some time to just be alone, because you can really ruin a good thing by just having that mindset. But personally, I'm just tired of trying to be perfect. No one is so-called perfect. It doesn't exist. And I mean, everybody has their own preference and their own type. It's hard to please everybody constantly. And sometimes even when you conform to what a person likes, that person still won't pick you. So it's like being a pick me doesn't even fucking pay off. You doing all that work and heavy lifting when you could just go be with someone who actually likes you for you, and then you don't have to be stressed and feel critiqued constantly. Most people who are actually good people, they don't expect you to be perfect. They just expect you to at least try to show up. And they even understand when you can't really show up, because they understand life will drag your ass sometimes, right? As long as you're not a crappy person, like no one expects you to be perfect, especially if you're starting a new job, or, you know, you're a newer parent, or even just parenting is hard, you know, work is hard. I mean, everybody have their off days. Just remember that anyone that really expects you to be perfect has unrealistic standards. And when I say embracing your authentic self, I don't really mean, you know, if you're alcoholic, lean into that. You know, if you're doing powder, lean into that. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about embracing your higher authentic self, meaning the best version. Like, who can you be that's the best version of yourself on a realistic level, right? Like, if you know you're struggling with alcohol or drug abuse, go get the help you need. You know, if you know you've been heartbroken or you're suffering from depression, go to therapy, go to counseling, so that you can embrace your higher authentic self, so you can walk in your truth, so you can love who you are, so you don't feel the need to constantly play transformer and constantly change who you are depending on the setting. I mean, yeah, of course, when you go to work, you know, if you curse a lot and you're saying these outrageous things, then don't do that, but you can still be yourself. And I think we talked about that in the past when we talk about code switching, right? Like, studies come out and shown that code switching is actually bad for people's mental health. And I won't go into that, but just know that it's okay to be you, you know? Especially if you're a half decent person, just be yourself. A lot of people that are good people are actually pleasantly surprised and thankful to run into a good person, even if they don't have their shit all the way together. Like, it's not that hard. Just don't cheat, just don't lie, don't steal. You know, you don't have to be fucking perfect. With all that being said, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you have a good day. I hope you have a good month. I hope you have a good year. I hope you get everything that your heart desires. That is good for you.